There are the umpires. Jerry Lane is the one with his back to us, and of course he is the crew chief of this four-man crew. The lineup change includes Rollins leading off, but Ben Revere down to the 7-hole. Murph, what does Ben think about batting 7 tonight?
Well, Ben had all the right things to say. When you're watching Ben Revere right now, and this is just my opinion, but it does appear that maybe he's pressing just a little bit. So, Charlie went to him today. He talked to him. He said, look, I'm not giving up on you, Ben. I know that you can hit the ball in the big leagues. We've seen it before, and we expect you're going to do it again. But he just wants to make this change, and he wanted Ben to understand why he made that change. And for Revere's part, he told reporters today, look, I am here to help this team win. If batting 7th, batting 8th, if that's where they need me to do it, I'm in it, and that's what I'm going to do in hopes to help the team win. So everybody taking this change in stride, and that's exactly how they should take. Just got to shake up things up a little bit and see if it works.
Yeah, that's a great point, Murph, too, because sometimes a guy, he's played in the major league. It's not like he's a baby coming up here, and he knows he can produce in the big leagues. Jimmy Rollins, of course, has been unbelievable in the leadoff spot throughout his career, but your point's great, well taken about Ben Revere with some pressure on him. Maybe go down the 7-hole, he can relax a little bit, steal some bags, do those kind of things.
And some of those other things that you guys talked about, Jimmy Rollins spoke about that. He said, hey, listen, sometimes you go to a new team, you're really trying to impress everybody, from your teammates to the fans to everyone in the organization. Let's take a look at the Cardinals lineup. It's brought to you by Xfinity, your home for the most live sports. It'll be Carpenter, Beltran, and Holiday, followed by Craig, Molina, and Freese in the bottom third of John Jay, Pete Kozma, and Adam Wainwright. And they'll face Phillies left-hander Cole Hamels, coming off a decent start his last time out, and he's trying to pick up his first victory of the year. And the first pitch of the night to Matt Carpenter is in there for a strike, so we're underway. The count is 0-1.
These guys have a lot of homegrown players are doing a good job for them the last few years. Carpenter's another one, a third baseman playing second and working on trying to play that position. Good hitter. Cole has done thus far. He got hit really hard in that game in Atlanta, of course, and his numbers are a little bit out of whack.
Ground ball to second, and Chase Utley is stepped to his left. One away, a quick first out here at the top of the first.
Here's our scouting report on Cole Hamels. That's his fastball velocity in that area. He'll also throw cutter, change, curveball. Career against the St. Louis Cardinals, 2-3 in this ballpark. 1-2, the 3.54 earned run average in 4 starts.
Well, here's Carlos Beltran, who has the most ABs out of anybody in the Cardinals lineup against Hamels. And he takes a strike, 93-mile-an-hour fastball, and it's 0-1.
From all those years going against the Phillies in a New York Mets uniform when Hamels would pitch against the Mets so much.
Beltran hits it foul. It's quickly 0-2.
Beltran looked like he may have been close to done a few years ago. Has he had a rejuvenation in his career?
Well, he had the first hit of the game last night against A.J. Burnett. Burnett had a no-hitter into the 7th inning for the Pittsburgh Pirates. And he reaches out and pokes one into right field, a base hit. Want to talk about a defensive 2-strike swing.
Yeah, that was an emergency swing. I think he was sitting on changeup there, and he wound up getting a fastball, just put it in play, and it's now time for our Nissan keys to this evening's ball game.
You remember them?
No. I knew they were brilliant, but I couldn't remember them. Well, there's a real good one. How about the first win for Cole Hamels? He just showed his stats, and Wainwright. Well, he will make a hitter swing, as we talked about in the opening. He has yet to walk a batter.
There's Matt Holliday, who takes outside. It's 1 ball and no strikes. Holliday has hit in 8 of his last 9. He's hitting .250, though, with a home run and 11 runs batted in. Phillies infield set up for 2. And he's late on that fastball. It's 1-1.
Talked about Matt Holliday the other night with another player that we're discussing, and he's a timing hitter. It was Vada. And watch Matt Holliday, how he lifts that front foot up really high and then puts it down. And it's all timing with him as far as his swing goes.
Just off the inside corner. That's a cutter, and it's 2-1. Matt Holliday signed a long-term contract extension with the Cardinals a couple of years ago. And with the departure of Albert Pujols last year, the Cardinals certainly needed his pop.
He'd been here a while now. He came over from the Rockies. by way of what, Oakland?
Oakland, yep. Change up, waved at. It's 2-2. I think that may have been the first change up that Cole's thrown tonight.
Good spot to throw it. Pitching backwards a little bit there in a fastball spot.
Hamels in his last outing went 6 innings. He allowed 3 hits and 1 run. Phillies wound up losing that game 2-1 to the Marlins. Another fastball inside. It's 3-2.
Last time he did that, he went away with a changeup to him.
There goes the runner. Pitch is taken for a called strike 3, and Kratz throws one right on the money. It's a strikeout, throw out, double play. A great way to finish up the top of the first inning. So Holiday goes down looking at a 3-2 pitch, and Beltran, kind of running on the pitch, was an easy target out at second base. Give some credit to Erik Kratz. This was a beautiful throw right on the money. We go to the bottom of the first. Cardinals nothing, and the Phillies coming up. Look at Charlie Manuel's starting lineup. It's brought to you by Xfinity, your home for the most live sports. It'll be Rollins, Galvis, and Chase Utley, followed by Ryan Howard, Michael Young, and John Mayberry Jr. Ben Revere's at center field batting 7th. Erik Kratz hits 8th. And batting 9th and pitching is Cole Hamels. And they'll face the veteran Adam Wainwright, now 31 years old. 82-49 lifetime. This year, off to a great start. 24 strikeouts and 22 innings of work.
6'7", 235-pounder out of Brunswick, Georgia. Spend the night in Brunswick, Georgia, everywhere on the way down to Clearwater. It's 825 miles from here, Tom, just in case you were interested.
Have you ever stopped over Adam Wainwright's house
no,
for some dinner?
No, just one of those hotels right off of 95. It's a quick night. And this guy is a really good pitcher, obviously. As Tom mentioned, signed him to a long-term contract, and he's an outstanding hitter.
Well, he'll face Jimmy Rollins to start things off. Rollins back to the leadoff spot for the first time this year. And the first pitch, a chopper to second. And with one pitch, there's one set aside.
Well, he's going to go up there and look for a first ball fastball. When you haven't walked anybody as a hitter, you're thinking, I'm going to get a pitch to hit. But he can sink his fastball, and he got on top of it and hits a weak ground ball.
Well, that'll bring Freddie Galvis to the plate. Galvis was 5 for 12 on the road trip. He's hit in 4 consecutive games. Getting a chance to play left field today for Dominic Brown.
Hit a home run last night.
And he takes a strike. It's 0-1. Galvis has certainly become a jack of all trades. And he rips one into right field, a base hit. And he goes hard out of the box and forces Beltran to get the throw in quickly.
Yeah, it's just surprising. You know, he was a Phillies shortstop of the future. As Dominic Brown not able to play tonight looks on. And now all of a sudden he's starting a game in left field after playing second and third. And he got a cut fastball there, it looked like, or a fastball out over the plate a little bit, and put a nice swing on it.
Well, we saw last year when Freddie adjusted to second base so smoothly that he has tremendous hands, great instincts, and it's now carried over to the outfield. It's not a position he is unfamiliar with, if only because of the amount of practice he has had in the outfield. He played a couple games in the outfield in spring training, but not an abundant amount.
It's just totally different when you go out there and you play in stadiums with an upper deck, sun, wind. Don't have to worry about that tonight, but the ball comes off the bat so much differently than off a fungo bat, or you know, even in batting practice, because they're not throwing that hard. And he did well enough in spring training. They feel comfortable to run him out there, and it's not a real deep left field here.
1 ball, no strikes, the count to Chase Utley. And Utley hits it back toward the box. Wainwright's got it. That could be 2, and it is 2. 1-6-3 on the double play. Each team finishes up their half of the first with a double play. Phillies a strikeout throw out. Adam Wainwright fielding a grounder. Alan Craig leads it off for the Cardinals. And Craig takes a strike from Cole Hamels. Craig has hit in 3 straight. Overall, he's .224 batter with no home runs, 9 runs batted in.
Another one of these guys that exploded on the scene in 2011 when they won the World Series, beat the Phillies in that excruciating 5-game series. And Craig, Freese, those kind of guys, John Jay, became household names, and they're good players, all of them.
And what you said before, homegrown through the system.
Yeah. Freese is a guy that was with the Padres, but he's from St. Louis.
He was out of baseball for a couple of years.
Yeah, he's a local kid. Now he's struggling a little bit this year, but he is how many big hits did he get in postseason play? It was unbelievable.
Curveball inside, 1-2.
We saw a few of them, and the Rangers really saw them.
There is David Freese.
Jay's a farm system guy.
Ground ball up the third base line. That's a fair ball. Scooped up by Young. Tough throw in time. And one out here in the second. Pretty good play by Michael Young.
Real nice play. Didn't have a fast runner, so he didn't have to panic here. He could use his glove, too. He knows he doesn't have to barehand it. Took maybe one extra step, but with a slow runner, he's able to do all that and get his man at first base.
Now with one away, Yadier Molina will be the hitter.
This guy's turned into the heart and soul of this team.
He has played in every inning of every game so far, and he's caught every inning but one.
That's amazing. It's early, but still, you think somewhere along the way they've gotten him out of a game. I guess Mike Matheny, a former catcher, really likes to watch this guy.
Off the hands, a bloop to right, a base hit.
Remember when he used to be an out?
All the time.
It's amazing. When he first came up, he was an out in their lineup, and now he may be their most dangerous hitter.
Now tonight's ball game is also available in Spanish. Just use the SAP button on your television or change the language through the menu on your cable box. Ricky Ricardo's to your right. Wills, does Ricky look a little different tonight? Bill Kulick's on the left.
No.
He's clean shaven. He shaved off his mustache.
Oh, okay.
Here's David Freese with the runner at first. And it's no balls and one strike. Freese last year and the year before combined has hit .295. Last year .293. The year before .297. This year no home runs, 1 run batted in. And the 0-1 pitch is in the dirt. It's 1 ball and 1 strike.
About growing up in St. Louis and doing what he did for this team in 2011. That home run that he hit, that clutch, he had a tying home run. He hit the game winner in the World Series game.
Well, he played in 18 postseason games. Inside, 2-1.
He ripped up Milwaukee too in their series, and then in the World Series he was tremendous. And he hit the homers, almost all of them, towards center field. Hit one off Roy Oswalt in the game against the Phillies on the Squirrel game.
Darn Squirrel.
That Squirrel, it ruined everything.
Well, he was the National League Championship Series MVP and the World Series MVP.
Yeah. He said he killed Milwaukee and the Rangers. And he was a pest to the Phillies, too. That John Jay right there. Or that's not Jay. But Jay, yeah, it is Jay. He really hurt the Phillies in one of those games.
Outside, ball 4. And that puts runners on first and second. So 2 on with 1 out here in the second. And John Jay is the next hitter. Jay this year with 2 home runs and 8 runs batted in.
In that game that Cliff Lee had the 4-run lead. And of course the Phillies lost. That was a pivotal game of the series. This guy got 2 really big hits to knock in runs early, or to start to wipe out that 4-0 lead. One in the hole to left and one in the hole to right.
So many points in that series that you can say were pivotal. That 4-run lead was huge.
Well, yeah, because you're up 2-0.
And you got Cliff Lee on the mound up 4-0.
Yeah. One of these days, you know, it's kind of like reliving, people my generation reliving 1964. You can't help it, and you're going to relive that series for a long time.
Jay whacks it foul. It's 0-2.
It's just bad memories.
It's a Cardinals team that is 11th in the league in hitting at .248. They've scored 79 runs, which is 4th most. So they've had a few guys with good numbers with runners in scoring position. And a called strike 3. Mike Estabrook had to wait a little bit before he decided, but he saw that it was on the black of the inner half. Second strikeout for Hamels.
Using his fastball a lot tonight. He has a good one. Trying to throw it in good spots. That's a strike.
Mike Matheny in his second year as the manager of the Cardinals.
He's a guy had to retire from Major League Baseball. One of the first times you heard about a catcher having concussion-like symptoms from all those foul balls.
Everybody wondered what the Cardinals would do when La Russa retired. It's tough to replace Tony La Russa, but all he did was bring him to the postseason. Runners go. Pitch is taken for a ball. Throw to third, not in time. Molina, I think, just shocked everybody by leading the double steal.
He sure shocked Hamels, because he wasn't paying any attention to him. 2 outs, figuring they're not going to run. Now you have the base open, but Wainwright's a really good hitter on deck. There he goes. He didn't even look at him, and he better make it, and he did. A lot of times you'd think about walking this guy right now as he beats a play, but barely.
But did he?
Well, I thought he beat it.
Swing and a miss. 1-1.
Even in the second inning, you think about it, but with Wainwright on deck, no, they're not going to do it.
Tried to hold up on a changeup, 1-2. Runners lead off second and third. The 1-2 pitch. Ground ball toward the left side, picked up by Michael Young, throws low, dug out by Howard. And the side is retired. No runs, 1 hit, 2 men left. We go to the bottom of the second here in Philadelphia. And Ryan Howard, Michael Young, and John Mayberry will be up for the Phils. Ryan Howard leads it off here in the bottom of the second. Howard is 7 for 20 lifetime against Wainwright. Overall this year hitting .241, a home run, and 5 runs batted in.
They're leaving the third baseman as a shortstop right now, and 3 on the right side. Now they're moving over, keep moving over. It's Freeze. Now he's finally going to stop.
Ryan Howard was 7 for 23 on the road trip. Phillies took 2 of 3 from the Marlins, but then lost the 3 to Cincinnati, and they didn't walk once. Ruben Amaro said today, he said, I think it's ridiculous that we had no walks in 3 days. I honestly can't believe it. There's a ground ball, and it goes past the shortstop Cosma, and the throw from the second baseman Carpenter goes off the glove of Alan Craig. And that should be a hit for Ryan Howard.
Yeah, they didn't play that very well, to say the least. And Ryan Howard would be happy to pick up a hit on that. They had him. He hit it right into the shift, and it should be an out. See, right here, he should have caught it first, Cosma. Now the throw is low.
Yeah, Carpenter double clutch, too.
Yeah, he didn't get out of his glove right away. And then Craig can't come up with it. They had 3 shots at that.
Well, Michael Young gets a chance to bat with nobody out and a runner at first. Short lead for Howard. And that looked like a little cutter outside, and it's 1-0. Wainwright is throwing a cutter more this year.
And then he'll throw that curveball when he has to, and he has a devastating curveball, especially with 2 strikes.
Little number back toward the mound. Wainwright has it. Not in time to get Michael Young. And with one out, Young takes over at first for Howard. John Mayberry's coming up. And what about those walks? Murph, what does Adam Wainwright attribute the lack of walks to?
You know what, Tom? It's a very interesting story. It happens to be the longest streak for a Cardinals pitcher to start the season since way back in 1925. And it stems back to when Adam Wainwright was on the disabled list in 2011, as you guys talked about with Tommy John surgery. He said he would sit there and watch games, and he would try and track pitchers that walked different players and how often they scored. And he came to the conclusion that if you don't walk guys, that teams don't score very often. So he said when he came back, he made it a point not to walk guys. He said even when he gets into 2-1 and 3-1 counts, which are very much hitters counts, he's going to throw something over the plate. He's going to try and throw a good pitch over the plate and hope that they get them out. But if they're going to get on base, they're going to earn it. They're going to get a hit. And certainly he has taken that to heart this season, as we've talked about. 23 straight innings now without issuing a walk, guys.
That's a great point, too, because the Phillies are living proof of a team that
Yes.
doesn't score without walks.
It really is a kind of a simple lesson, I would imagine, for pitchers, but so interesting that he would sit there and really kind of track and keep track of guys that are scoring after walks when he couldn't do anything else to, help himself become a better pitcher. So he became more of a student of the game, and it's working for him, no doubt.
Well, it's one thing to recognize it. It's also another thing to actually do it.
Well, to have that kind of ability, yeah. To throw pitches behind in the count, as Murph said, that are strikes, but they're not strikes.
Swing and a miss. And he got him on a cutter, and that's the first strikeout for Wainwright. Yeah, there are 2 outs for Ben Revere. So here comes Revere up for the first time this year in a spot other than the leadoff spot.
Adam Wainwright's had a fascinating career when you think about what a good closer he was at one time when they needed him in that role. And they have a problem right now with Jason Mott's gone with an elbow problem, and they really don't know who their closer is. Could be Mujica, could be a couple of guys. Mott's a big weapon for them to lose.
Mott has a partially torn ligament in his throwing elbow. They're going to rest him for another 2 weeks before they decide on Tommy John surgery, but all signs point toward Tommy John surgery for Jason Mott.
Yeah, and they're waiting on it. And it's normally a year or more after you have that surgery before you can pitch again.
I'm kind of surprised that they're just not going to do it, because if it's partially torn, you would think that eventually he's going to have it.
Right.
Want to know the count to Ben Revere, and a throw over to first. Young is back. Revere was 4 for 24 on the road trip. Season average at 194.
He's just had trouble getting the ball in the infield all of a sudden. And you think, well, he would get some infield hits by accident, but he's hitting them right at somebody.
Toyota Major League Scoreboard, the Braves and the Pirates are even at 1. Braves are 6-0 on the road this year. They've only lost 2 games overall.
They got shut out 1-0 yesterday, and that's unusual the way they hit homers.
Up high, 3-0.
Well, this is close to a walk.
Eric Kratz is on deck. Well, and this is the experiment where Wainwright would normally throw a strike in this spot, and there it is. Jimmy Rollins with Revere batting 7th, batting leadoff tonight. 3-1 the count to Ben Revere. There goes Young. The pitch is grounded right side. And Craig gets back to first. Put out is recorded 4-3, and the Phillies leave one over at first. We've completed our first 2 here in Philadelphia, the opener of a 4-game series against the Cardinals. You log on to Phillies.com, go to the fans section for all the information, and please submit your answer on the subject line. Who is the pitcher that gave up Stan Musial's 475th and final home run in 1963? Adam Wainwright takes a pitch up high. It's 1-0. Wheels, the Cardinals honored the great Stan Musial last week in St. Louis. They've got a patch with his number 6 on their sleeve. Is Wainwright.
He was not only one of the greatest players that ever played. He's one of the greatest people you ever meet. Anybody who's lucky, we were lucky enough to meet him a number of times, be in his company, and what a great guy. Just tremendous ambassador for the game. There's that patch Tom mentioned.
Well, all fans last Friday night in St. Louis, when they honored the great Stan Musial, all fans coming to the ballpark, you know what they got?
Harmonica.
They all got a harmonica.
He had that harmonica. You would say something, Stan, he'd pull that harmonica. He always had that thing with him.
Swing and a miss, and Wainwright is the 3rd strikeout victim of the night.
One of his favorite songs was the Wabash Cannonball. He could hit. Oh my goodness, look at these numbers.
331 lifetime. That's just something you'll never see.
Spent some time in the service too, like a lot of the guys did it. I think Stan was in the Navy.
475 home runs, just under 2,000 RBIs.
And a native of Pennsylvania, Donora, Pennsylvania. Whitey used to say that Stan Musial was the greatest hitter ever. He said number 2, Stan Musial, no doubt in his mind. And Stan Musial, when he first came up, could run, really run too.
What had won the count? Who did he say was the greatest hitter?
Ted Williams.
Ted Williams.
Yeah.
And then Stan the man.
And then Stan. He used to say that all the time and never hesitate.
Well, he is. His memory is beloved. He was always a beloved figure in the city of St. Louis. Beautiful statue outside the ballpark in his honor. Out toward left center field. Revere on the run toward the track. He's there.
When you look at those numbers of Stan Musial, all the home runs he hit, but doubles. So he had power and speed. He hit the alleys. He was the Cardinals, no doubt about it. He's there. When you look at the St. Louis Cardinals, you think of Stan Musial.
Was he a good defensive outfielder?
They said he was a very good outfielder. Yeah, because he could run so well.
Beltran singled his first time up. He takes low and away, 1-0. Good changeup. Beltran was thinking fastball, was swinging fastball, and way out in front. What a catch by one of the ushers here on the Hall of Fame club. There are 3 ushers, or 2 ushers, I should say, that were congregated right around the top of the stairs, and he had his back to it, heard a little commotion, turned, and just casually made the grab. Swing and a miss. He got him with a cutter. Down and in. 4 strikeouts already for Hamels, and it's a 1-2-3 top of the 3rd inning. Nothing across for St. Louis. Beltran rung up for the final out here at the top of the 3rd. We'll go to the bottom of the 3rd here at Philadelphia. The Cardinals nothing and the Phillies nothing. Time you experience good banking? Buy Honda. Visit your Honda dealer today for great deals. Only a Honda is a Honda. And buy McDonald's. I'm loving it. Oh, nice night here at Philadelphia. We go to the bottom of the 3rd. Eric Kratz will lead it off. And Kratz lines one toward right, but it's right at Beltran. Eric is now 0 for his last 15. That'll bring Cole Hamels to the plate. In fact, the next time Hamels pitches will be on Tuesday against the Pittsburgh Pirates. It's a 7:05 start, and it's all part of a 4-game series against the Buccos. Monday is the Hatfield Phillies Frank Dollar Dog Night. And Thursday's the first Citizens Bank Business Person Special.
Talking about that great game, Tom, that A.J. Burnett pitched last night. He'll pitch Monday. Phillies had a lot of battles with him over the years.
A.J. Burnett won that game 5-0 over the Cardinals. You can get tickets for that game, that series, and the series against the Cards by going to Phillies.com. Ground ball up the first base side. 2 quick outs for the Cardinals.
Phillies with this 3 up, 3 down almost, and no score in the early parts of games. It's just ridiculous.
Well, counting the 3 games against the Marlins and the 3 against the Reds, it's 6 straight games where they did not score a run in the first 5 innings. And you see Wainwright 5, 13, and 3.
They've had a couple base runners, but he's making it look really easy the way a lot of pitchers have lately.
Here's Rollins, who takes a strike. It's 0-1.
And it's not like you can stand up there, take a lot of pitches off him, and get ahead in the count, because he's going to throw strikes. Yep, he hadn't thrown that thing much, and there it was, that big old 12-6 curveball.
Rollins grounds it foul. It's 1-2. Just talking to Jimmy Rollins today about batting leadoff instead of Ben Revere. He said, well, listen, in the 13 years I played for the Phillies, for 11 of those 13, I'm the leadoff hitter. I was a leadoff hitter. He said, you know, you lead off the game, and then every other part of the ball game, you could be hitting third in the inning, you could be hitting first, you can be hitting second, fourth. But he does understand, you know, the spark that a leadoff hitter could provide, particularly to begin the game. He has 43 leadoff home runs during his career.
Yeah, and he can get the game started 1-0. He also knock in runs with 2 outs from guys at the bottom of the order.
2-2 the count to Rollins.
That's something Ben Revere would have trouble doing.
And Rollins lays off a high curve. It's 3-2.
The reason being that the outfielders cheat in a lot on him because he doesn't drive the ball. Jimmy, he drives the ball.
See the way the outfield is aligned now with a count 3-2. And a ground ball toward first, and that is a fair ball according to Alan Porter, the first base umpire. So a 1-2-3 inning for Adam Wainwright. 3 in the books here in Philadelphia. Still a quiet night. We go to the top of the 4th inning here in Philadelphia. Matt Holliday will lead it off. It'll be Holliday, Alan Craig, and Yadier Molina against left-hander Cole Hamels. Hamels got Holliday on strikes his last time up, and he delivers just a little outside. It's 1-0.
Yeah, kind of froze him on a fastball inside. Most players don't like that ball on the inside part of the plate, especially late in the count. Good pitch. Most of the hitters will look for the ball out over the plate, especially 3 and 2.
Foul tip, and it's 1-2. What do you think of his fastball tonight, Sarge?
Have some movement on it. That was in a pretty good spot. You can tell Holliday, fastball hitter, off balance on that particular pitch.
Now time is called. Holliday asks for time. And Hamels will go for a walk.
Now that's what pitchers don't like doing. Again, they want to be on the same sort of wavelength with their catcher. Don't want to be stepping off. Want that sign and they want to throw. I guess that's what he wanted to do, was to come back inside. Kratz gave him a sign that he wanted it outside, gave him a little bit of a wiggle, which would have meant a changeup.
Here's the 2-2 pitch to Holliday. Inside, 3-2. Alan Craig on deck. 3, 4, and 5 due up for the Cardinals here in the top of the 4th.
Pretty good pitch. Change up. That's after 2 fastballs inside.
And low, ball 4. Second walk issued by Hamels. And that'll bring Alan Craig to the plate. Howell's looking a little frustrated out there on the mound. Wouldn't you agree?
A little bit bad body language, and again, I've always thought, heck, you don't want to throw a particular pitch, just step off. But again, in today's game, pitchers don't like doing that. They want to have that catcher put down the fingers and you go and throw. It's a good pitch there. Used to see that quite a bit with Jody Davis and Rick Sutcliffe. Jody did a great job for him that year. Sutcliffe 16-1, winning the Cy Young, which would have been in 1984.
Fastball on the outside corner, 1-1. So they wouldn't always be on the same page, or?
Oh, never. And
really?
Oh, yeah. And a lot of times Jody would just go out and say, "Well, I'll sit in the middle of the plate, throw whatever you want." Because Jody felt that he didn't throw hard enough to be able to fool him, so he'd be able to catch the ball. Well, things worked out well.
Out toward right center field. Mayberry on the run. He lost it in the lights and then slipped down. Ben Revere backs it up. The runners advancing an extra bag. Holiday to third. And Alan Craig gets all the way to second. Now, I'm assuming he lost it in the lights and then slipped down because he leaned down just a little bit, Sarge. That ball was going out to him. I could be totally wrong as to whether he lost that or not.
Yeah, I've seen balls in the lights before. Let's take a look at it as it goes out into right center as he's coming in. No, he just slipped. On that particular ball. He saw that ball all the way. Ben doing a good job, however, backing him up. Could have been over a little bit further, but yeah, he just slipped on that. Ben giving him plenty of room just to let him know he's not in the vicinity there. Bad luck going on for the Fighting Phil.
All right, so the Phillies will play the infield back with Molina and runners on second and third. And Molina swings at the first pitch, shoots it down the right field line. That's a fair ball. It kicked up some chalk, and 2 runs are going to score. Molina going to second, and the throw not in time. It's a 2-run double, and it's 2-zip St. Louis.
Wow. This is when, Charlie's going out. He's going to take a look at it.
Alan Porter, by the way, is the is the first base umpire. He made that call.
I'll just see whether or not he was out there far enough. A lot of times umpires, when the ball hit down the line, they'll straddle the line. And you see what I'm saying? He's straddling the line right now, and he's taking a look at it, and he made the call. A lot of times there you can see chalk come up, so you know it's a fair ball.
Well, that was awfully close. It looked naked eye as if it was a fair ball. It looked like it kicked up the chalk. Looking at that replay, it was close. Take another look, see if you can see it. Watch the ball come down now. Boom. Boy, if it hit chalk, it just barely hit chalk. I mean, from that shot right there, it looked like it was just foul.
Well, the position that Porter's in gives him the best view. He got down, so you can actually see whether or not the ball's on whatever side or whether or not it hits the chalk.
A strike on the outside corner, 1 ball and 1 strike to David Freese. Alan Porter obviously was closer than we were to that shot. Thought maybe he should go down a little bit more just to look at it, but he had a pretty good angle at it.
Well, as long as they get down, they're able to see the line, but you're right. Further down you go down, the easier it is to take a look at it.
All right, let's take another look at it here. And still in the air. Coming down, still coming down, and right there, that's a foul ball. Boy, we were able to blow that up. Obviously, Alan Porter didn't have that same look, but able to blow that up right there. And that looked like it was a foul ball. That's some great work to be able to do something like that. You know, that's part of instant replay that they may expand to in the years to come. Swing and a miss, 3-2.
So on instant replay, you think they would have overturned that particular call?
Yes. Well, I don't know if they have that. If they had that shot that we just showed, and they have everything at their disposal that we replay, then yes, I do think they would have.
Wow.
If we would have shown something blown up like that. I mean, again, we had to blow it all the way up to show it. You know, from up here, I thought it looked fair, but looking at that replay, it was obviously foul.
Yeah. Well, again, too, though, it's so close. Game of inches. So if he saw any white or whatever come up, he's going to call that a fair ball. But it's amazing how many times when you say it's a game of inches that it comes into play.
A strike on the outside corner, 0-1. John Jay the batter. 2-0 Cardinals on a 2-run double by Yadier Molina. Molina stole third his last time on second base. Led a double steal.
He's not a fast runner, just end up getting a good jump.
Outside, and it's 1 ball and 1 strike.
They're struggling a little bit with that control here this inning. Control damage is what he wants right now. No more runs. They'll throw that change up, left-handers and right-handers. That was a change up there. Usually, back in the day, didn't throw a lot of change ups if you were a left-handed pitcher to a left-handed hitter, simply because they felt they could see it a little better. Nice pitch.
That's 6 strikeouts for Hamels. And there are 2 gone now in the 4th inning.
Great movement on this pitch there. It looked to be almost like some type of little breaking ball that broke quick right at the end.
Cosma grounded out to Michael Young, his only time up. He's 0 for 1. And he takes the change up a little low, and it's 1 ball, no strikes. A 2-run double by Yadier Molina. That after looking at the replay, you can see was foul by an inch or 2. Broke his bat back toward the middle. Utley ranges to his right, and the side is retired. 2 runs score though for Molina. His 9th and 10th RBI of the season. Watch the ball land off the bat of Yadier Molina. It's a foul ball called fair. Turned out to be a 2-run double. And Cole Hamels will say, wait a minute. Bottom of the 4th, Phil's down 2-0. Trying to get something going offensively against Adam Wainwright. Freddie Galvis leads it off, takes a strike. It's 0-1. What do you think about Galvis playing your all positions, Sarge?
Well, he's a guy, a true utility player, can play all the positions. He just wants to play, brings energy to the ball club for me. And it proved he could play out there in spring training. Obviously, loves being able to catch ground balls, but going in the outfield should even make it easier for a guy like that.
0-2 the count to him. And a swing and a miss. Ball in the dirt. Molina flips to first. Second strikeout for Wainwright. Well, here's Dominic Brown, and he told me today that this is where he thinks he tweaked his back, right there.
Yeah. I just see almost timing that to jump. Now this is when he was at the at bat. Now he kind of grabs that back right there in the back and Actually must have felt something and then looking around, really not even walking the way he normally walks.
Dominic said he's never had any kind of back pain. And he said he feels fine. The x-rays were negative. He took a full batting practice today. Can pinch hit if needed and should be able to play tomorrow. Said he's never had any kind of back problem, so he didn't know if it was a spasm, if there was something else to it once he got up after making that catch. Utley takes strike one, 1-1 the count. Utley grounded into a double play his first time up.
Wainwright holds his changeup a little differently from Cole's. Actually, that ball kind of going away as if it was a screwball, holding that from the side. Those are things that when you're a hitter and you're up there at the plate, you want to pick up those kind of tendencies from pitcher. There it is again. Well, that was a fastball. But you want to try and pick up as many tendencies as you can from each and every one of the pitchers. Just makes it easier for you when you go up there to hit.
Fiddling with the grip as he gets into his glove. And the 2-2 pitch. Curveball line towards center field. A base hit for Chase Utley. So the Phils have a base runner with one man down. For years, StubHub has been the place to find great Phillies tickets. And this season, you can get more with your tickets thanks to StubHub Fan Rewards. So get to StubHub and grab your seats today. Fans were waiting for Chase Utley's at bat to come to a close, so now they're headed back to their seats and getting a chance to sit down just as Ryan Howard's coming to the plate. Safe to say, Sarge, that Ryan Howard's due a little bit here.
Oh yeah, just again, you'll start hitting that ball out of the ballpark when you consistently hit the ball hard. Good technique on hitting a breaking ball from Chase Utley. Slow feet he had, able to track the ball, not over swinging.
Inside and low, 1-0 the count. Phillies offensively, there's some rather interesting numbers that have been popping up the last couple of days. They've scored 52 runs in 15 games. It's not counting tonight, of course, this season. They're averaging 3.4 runs per game after averaging about 5.5 runs per game during spring training. They've scored 2 runs or less 8 times already. Howard fouls it away. It's 1-1. Against the Reds, the Phillies as a team hit 144. And as Charlie said today, the on-base percentage wasn't much higher than that. It was at 154 because they didn't walk in those 3 games.
Charlie wasn't very happy at all, to say the least. But again, you just got to keep working. Sure that Steve Henderson very frustrated about what's going on. Wally Joyner does the hitting with him. Most those guys, they wear that hitting on their sleeves. And the way you like to really judge it, during the course of the game, you like those guys to be in double digits in hits, 10, 11, 12. As a hitting coach, you feel pretty good about that.
Howard hits it on a shot off the chest of Carpenter, who kind of gave up on it. I think partly because that ball hurt.
I was going to say that pain actually set in after it hit him in the chest. And you're right, he didn't go at it right away. You see him kind of feeling it. That's a little bit too hot to handle. A lot of times you see a guy lay a ball. Well, when you get in front of it and it takes a hop, that's what happens. Kind of knocks the air right out of your body. He was in no hurry to pick that ball at all. Hope that didn't hit him on the bone or anything like that, and he appears to be okay other than the shock of a wicked one-hop line drive. Now this is real speed there, as you can see. He might have had a play at second base, but once he ends up starting to run, it just not going to happen.
Greg Houck, the athletic trainer for the Cardinals, went out with Mike Matheny. That is a jarring blow. It turns out to be the second infield hit of the game for Ryan Howard. And now first and second with one out for Michael Young.
See, and that same ball there that Ryan Howard hits, if it's more, that ball had top spin on it, which means it's going to go down. And if he hits that ball true, it's out of the ballpark. And he's starting to find that stroke and more of the stroke where you're hitting close to 300. That's the stroke that he wants to try and find.
Phillies with runners in scoring position tonight for the first time. They had the two double play balls earlier. One of the first and then one of the second. And Michael Young takes a strike. It's 0-1.
Pitcher's pitch. Not a pitch you want to swing at there for your first strike or second strike.
Phillies numbers with runners in scoring position, 8th in the National League, 13th overall. Not awful at 274. Swing and a miss. It's 0-2. I think the numbers aren't down because of the Red Series, because they didn't have a lot of guys in scoring position.
Yeah. You know, and again, though, you can look at stats all kind of really different ways. And I think a lot of times you got to go on exactly how your guys are driving in runs. Are they driving in runs with good at bats, or are they driving in runs where, you know, they're more lucky hits where you're not going to be able to continue to do that? That's why you want that team to be, everybody to be in sync, being able to get a guy over, but more importantly, mentally work that pitcher and have a game plan of your own.
Ground ball toward third. That could be two. And around the horn, double play, 5-4-3. The Phillies are retired here in the fourth. No runs, 2 hits, 1 man left. Carpenter looked like he shook off that shot. And we go to the 5th. Top of the 5th, it's 2-0. Cardinals on top. Cole Hamels will get set to face Adam Wainwright to start things off. All right, Sarge, so 4 innings into this ball game. Phillies have not scored a run. It's kind of a carryover to the road trip we just saw.
Yeah, right. Didn't play very well on the road there at all. The good thing, however, is that they've had opportunities. Not only that, Ryan Howard is starting to make solid contact. Once he starts to do that, and again, that ball he hit for the single, if it's up, it's out of the ballpark. But, you know, got to stop saying ifs here in this part of the year. They got to start winning some series. It's going to be just a long year if they don't.
Well, I think one of the things that Charlie Manuel talked about is that every team goes through, and you said this even yesterday, kind of these slumps, and the Phillies are just happen to be going through it first month of the season, at least over the last week or so.
Yeah, you just hate that all the players are going through there at the same time. You would hope that maybe someone would be able to carry the club there a little bit. You know, a lot of times, too, players try and do a little bit too much. Got to make sure that everybody's getting involved.
1-2 pitch. A little low. 2-2 to Wainwright. He struck out his first time.
Got to be careful. Guy swings the bat pretty good.
He waves at a changeup. 7 strikeouts for Hamels.
Equalizer.
There's Steve Henderson, the Phillies hitting coach. Steve Henderson and Wally Joyner both working diligently to try to get the players back on track to where they were, let's say, those 2 games against the Mets.
Yeah. Well, it's not because they're not working hard and the effort is there. Just not the consistency that you need to be able to carry that on in the games. Once that starts, it makes it easy to start to win those series where you're winning 2 out of 3 or 3 out of 4.
One ball and one strike the count to Carpenter. Out towards center field. Revere on the run. Out toward the track. Backpedaling. Makes the catch. He took a solid route.
That ball's up high like that. He has no fear. Has the speed to be able to get back. It's those line drives. That ball up high there, you can see he's got a bead on it. See how he starts to back up. He has it with no problem. Good catch.
Beltran 1 for 2.
Kind of surprised Beltran is hitting in that second spot. Usually he's a guy that will hit 3, 4, 5 because he drives in runs. That's where you want those guys, even though he does have 9 RBI so far this year. That's good.
That'll be a foul ball down the left field line. Well, that brings us to our Mazda leaders. And speaking of Beltran, he is the active leader along with David Wright in home runs against the Phillies. Adam Dunn is 22. He's over in the American League, though, with the White Sox. Another one out towards center field. This one not deep. Mayberry and Revere are there, and it's Revere makes the one-handed catch. Cardinals go down in order. Best inning of the night for Hamels. Bottom of the 5th. Phillies down 2-0. Bottom of the 5th. Cardinals up 2-0. And it'll be John Mayberry, Ben Revere, and Eric Kratz. And they'll start things off for the Phillies. Well, tomorrow on Philly Sports Talk, they'll also be discussing the Eagles' schedule, which just came out. It'll include home games against the San Diego Chargers, Sarge, a Thursday night game against the Kansas City Chiefs on the 19th of September. Andy Reid coming back to town. I think they did that on purpose.
Of course.
John Mayberry leaves it off, and he takes low. 1 ball and no strikes. Popped him up. Alan Craig, the first baseman, is there.
Hey, guys are having pretty good swings. Wainwright not overpowering at all, topping out somewhere around 92 or so. But then he's just been around the plate as advertised, not walking enough. See right there, he just a little bit away from that. That's why I say that ball there too, if you're trying to hit that maybe to center field, you'll probably rifle that ball to right center. Just got to stay on it a little more. Pretty good swing, however.
Ben Revere up for the second time. He grounded out his first time up on a 3-2 pitch. Out toward left field, Matt Holliday ventures back a few steps for the second out. And here comes Eric Kratz. MLB.com at bat is the #1 source for live baseball everywhere you go. It's available for your iPhone, your iPad, your mini iPad, Android, and BlackBerry 10. At bat delivers Phillies baseball with live audio, pitch tracking, stats, news, highlights, and more. Text at bat to 31826 or visit Phillies.com for details. Eric Kratz takes strike 1.
So far, he's got, 4 pitches, 2 outs. Talk about working the count. You got to be able mentally to, the guy in front of you swings at the pitch early. You might want to maybe take a pitch or 2 just to start to work it on him. Good swing.
48 pitches with 2 outs here in the 5th. 7th pitch of the inning. Just outside, 1-2.
You get those early strikes. Now you can nibble, not the opposite way where you get 2 balls. Now you just try and not throw the ball down the middle of the plate. He's been ahead for the most part.
Swing and a miss. There's that curveball. An 8-pitch 5th inning for Adam Wainwright. He retires the Phils in order. Nothing across here in the bottom of the 5th. Well, we've played another 5 innings, and the Phillies with no runs. We go to the 6th inning.
Was member of the 200-win club. Roy Halladay had waited 197 days to get that elusive W. But all good things come with time. What a mountain he has climbed since his first win back in 1998 to become the 109th player to reach the mark. The journey to the milestone took 406 appearances and over 2,700 innings pitched to accomplish the rare feat. Nothing Doc does is without 100% effort. Make it 200% this time. And it's brought to you by Independence Blue Cross. Changing the game.
Well, the Phillies showed the celebration for Doc's 200th win up on the video board earlier tonight, and then the camera panned to Doc, and he was all business getting ready for tomorrow's start against the St. Louis Cardinals.
Well, I tell you what, he's getting more and more focused. We'll see exactly what he's going to do tomorrow. You can bet he'll have his game plan. See whether or not he'll be able to execute it.
Meanwhile, Cole Hamels has allowed 2 runs on a double by Yadier Molina. Matt Holliday leads off the 6th, and he fouls the first pitch away. It's 0-1. That double, as we mentioned, looking at the replay and blowing up the shot, Alan Porter called it fair, and looking at the replay, it looked like it was foul. But the Phillies offense has not really managed a whole lot against Adam Wainwright. Swing and a miss, 0-2. Well, here's that ball again.
Take a look at this double. It's right down the line.
And right there,
from that angle, it does appear that it is, a foul ball. I bet if you spoke with him, he'd tell you that he saw something kick up.
Ground ball towards shortstop. Rollins has time. And that's 7 in a row retired by Cole Hamels. He retired the side in order in the 5th. Every time the Phillies do that to the opposition, Comcast will make a contribution to Phillies charities. Phillies baseball is brought to you by Xfinity, your home for the most live sports, giving you all your favorite sports all year long. Alan Craig has doubled and scored. He's grounded out to third. 1 for 2 in this game.
Hey, these guys don't have great averages. Although they do have runs driven in, a lot of the guys, but they're not really overly killing the ball themselves.
No, as a team, they're hitting .248, but they do have a couple of guys who are among the leaders in batting average with runners in scoring position, including Beltran, who's at .667. And Alan Craig up right now at .397.
So when you see that stat, what you're saying is that these guys are hitting in the clutch.
Exactly. The young man is very excited.
Yeah.
Here's the 1-2 pitch to Alan Craig. Line drive to center field. 2 outs. 2 outs. Yadier Molina's coming up. He's 2 for 2. There's Murph down to the Diamond Club. Murph, what's going on down there?
Well, it's time for the Major League Notebook, brought to you by the good folks at Gwinnett Mercy College. And we're talking first about a former Philly prospect, now a Met prospect, Travis d'Arnaud. He thought to be maybe being headed to the major leagues by midsummer at this point, but fouled the ball off of his foot the other day, broke a bone in his foot, and now that certainly will be pushed back. So bad news for Travis d'Arnaud. And the news is bad for Derek Jeter as well, who also had a CT scan today, and they found another crack in that surgically repaired ankle.
Oh,
and right now, they are saying that he will not be back before the All-Star break at this point, and that probably may be a little optimistic as well, guys.
Fly ball to shallow right field. John Mayberry settles under it, puts it away. A 1-2-3 6th inning. That's surprising news about Derek Jeter and our Gwinnett Mercy Major League Notebook. We go to the bottom of the 6th inning. The Cardinals on top of the Phillies 2-0. It'll be 9-1-2 for the Phillies. Last of the 4th inning. And Adam Wainwright will face Cole Hamels, Jimmy Rollins, and Freddie Galvis. Well, the Cardinal fans who are here tonight to watch this ball game have got a chance to see Yadier Molina with a 2-run opposite field double, and they've seen some great pitching between that guy right there and Adam Wainwright. Adam Wainwright is coming off an 8-pitch 5th inning, and as we begin the 6th, he has a very small pitch count. 51 pitches. Well, you figure on paper that when the guy on the left matches up with the guy on the right, you're going to have a pitcher's duel.
Yep. He's just not throwing fastballs first pitch. He has been around the plate. Not predictable in throwing.
Freeze won't get to that one, and it's 1-2. Swing and a miss, and Hamels waves at a curveball. That's 4 strikeouts for Adam Wainwright. Time to take a look at our Subway in-game box score. The Phillies tonight have managed 4 hits, 2 by Ryan Howard against Adam Wainwright, and that's it. They've gone the first 5 innings, now 5 1/3, without scoring a run, but the first 5 innings without scoring a run for the 7th consecutive game. Rollins is 0 for 2.
Now that chart there will give a hitting coach a headache, to say the least. There's certain guys that you're counting on. Jimmy Rollins, one of them. It's plain and simple. You got to pick it up. It's not just one individual.
There's a changeup you were talking about that almost looks like a screwball. 13 of 19 first pitch strikes.
Well, there it is right there. I mean, again, it's not that he is overpowering.
Well, there's a fair ball over the bag, under the feet of Alan Porter. Rollins on his way to second, and he's there standing. Finally, an extra base hit. Sixth double of the year for Rollins.
I got to tell you, boy, you get that double right from home plate. Take a look at it as he starts down the first base line. Yep, that ball is fair. See how he starts to kind of bow out just a little bit right down the line. Porter jumping up as the ball gets by him. Automatic double for J-Ro, however.
And with one out, Galvis, who singled his first time up and struck out his last time up, is the batter. Phillies try to get something going on offense. They've now out-hit the Cardinals 5-4. Galvis takes in 1-0. Rollins taking a look to see where the outfielders are. Galvis sends one in the air to center. Jay was playing shallow on the run out to the track, and he can't make the catch. It's off the wall. Rollins got a late start on his way home. He'll score easily as the ball is dropped. That'll be an RBI double for Freddie Galvis, and yes, the Phillies are on the board.
Well, talked about him bringing a lot of energy, and he sure has. Just about every game he has actually played in. That ball he hit a long way. Jay, center fielder, not able to get the ball, but not only that, he has excellent base running skills as he hits it. Now take a look at that as it goes just past the glove right near State Farm. By then, he's off to the races, but smart enough in seeing J-Roll in front of him that he didn't just run the third base just because. Good base running.
So Rollins scores the run, his 6th of the year. It's a 2-1 ball game, and now Utley's up with a runner at second. Utley takes outside, 1-0.
I think J-Roll was that close to the bag simply because he was going to probably tag up after he saw the ball that eluded Jay out in center field. He's off to the races. He's going to score on that with the speed that he has.
Now with the meeting of the order up and 1 out, they've got a runner in scoring position. A chance to tie the game up against Adam Wainwright, who still has not walked anybody this year. In 27 1/3 innings. A 1-1 pitch. Back toward the middle, under the glove of the shortstop Cosma. Here comes Galvis. He's going to score without a throw, and we are all tied up at 2. That's more like it.
Right up the middle, Utley hitting the ball. Told you good things happen when you hit that ball up the middle. Galvis coming in, giving high fives, giving the club a real spark that they needed. Knowing that he's surprised Wainwright. I'm sure he felt he didn't have the power that he had. Now here's a bullet right up the middle. Going to score Galvis, who's on second base as he's coming in. He's going to slide just to make sure. Give himself 5 on top of that.
Derek Lilliquist out to the mound to talk to Wainwright. 12 pitches. This is 2 runs, 3 straight hits. Only 12 pitches here in the 6th inning.
Right, well, it's, again, got to give those hitters some credit coming alive this inning. You notice, though, how everybody starts to talk when they get some hits. No hits, no smiles, no talks. More importantly, no wins.
Well, let's see a little more chattering going on in that dugout right now. Ryan Howard's at the plate. He's 2 for 2. 2 infield singles. Utley at first. Howard takes outside. It's 1-0. Howard has not homered in 22 at-bats against Wainwright, but he is 9 for 22.
Outfield is playing awful deep. You already know one thing, however. Utley attempts to steal, and he's still second. He'll be trying to actually go to third base, too. He's done it before, although this is not the normal shift. Usually they're shift over a lot more than what they are, and that's simply because you have Utley on first base.
Tied him up inside. That was a cutter from Wainwright. It's 2-1.
Well, Molina, the catcher, is always looking to throw to different bases. He actually positions himself when he's at home plate, where when you look at his feet will be almost already turned. So therefore, not going to have to pivot that much when he actually takes a throw. See how he turns that foot there, his back foot.
Well, Molina, 43 pickoffs, tops in the majors since the 2007 season.
Yeah, his reputation now, you just don't get off the base that far.
2-2 the count. He's thrown back-to-back cutters. Let's see what he throws here. And a curveball rolled over out of towards second. And it's bobbled again by Carpenter, and he still has time to get Howard. Utley's up at second with 2 outs.
They're actually trying to get that lead runner and chase Utley. First thing you have to do is catch the ball before you can do anything at all. Howard rolling over on an off-speed pitch there. You can see out in front of that, looking for a fastball to show on in. He just actually booted that all together. Didn't even almost hit glove. As Utley kind of takes a look at him. There comes Howard in your picture.
Juan Samuel was trying to buy a call there over at first base. So Utley's at second base. That's where Rollins was when Galvis was at the plate. Watch Galvis and Jimmy Rollins here.
Yeah. Well, that's where he's going to tag up there. Now he's going all the way. That's why I was saying you couldn't even throw him out. Now Galvis, he's taking off there. Takes one look. He's off and running.
Michael Young, the hitter, with a runner at second. A base hit. The Phillies to take the lead here in the 6th.
Now, we've always felt, I didn't care where you hit the ball. You're on second base, even if it's the left field. You should be able to score. Base hit, you should be able to score. Unless it's just one heck of a bullet right to the fielder. Other than that, if it's not to the left fielder, still should be able to score most runners. Now, a lot of times, runners don't have a secondary lead. Or don't get a good jump.
Well, Jimmy Rollins has run the bases well in this inning. Already Galvis.
Just need to get him on to start to run the bases a little bit more. And this is one of the reasons, again, that they have Jimmy Rollins at the top of the lineup. That's why Charlie likes him there.
What about? Get a chance to start in left field tonight and bat second. He's had 2 hits and a run scored. Freddie Galvis. And time is called by Michael Young. Back toward the middle. Oh, what a play by Wainwright. I don't know how that ball didn't sneak out of his glove. Throws Young out.
6'7", 6'6".
6'7" and then some. Freddie Galvis, he got the Phils on the board with this scorcher out towards center field. Rollins crossed the plate, and then after Chase Utley singled, Galvis was able to tie the ball game up at 2. Top of the 7th inning, David Freese leads it off and lines one to right center field for a base hit. That's going to be an extra base hit, and Freese will pull into second with a leadoff double. Hamels had retired 9 consecutive batters before that double.
Yeah, and all the momentum you finally get, you don't want to give up a run, obviously, or you want to shut down and keep the crowd in the game, as that guy has finally given up a couple runs. Well, he's near the bottom of the order, though. You have a chance to work your way through this.
Freddie Galvis, who making the start in left field. Galvis, Rollins, Utley provided the spark offensively as Jay bunts, and it's a good one. Hamels off the mound, throws him out. They'll give him a sacrifice, and Freese goes to third.
That was a really good play by Cole Hamels. because Young's not going to get there. Jay can fly out of the box on the left side. The only guy had a chance to make that play was Hamels. And Jay trying to get him over any way he can. He decides I'm going to put it down, or they told him to bunt. Very tough play for Michael Young. See how close it is anyway, even with Hamels doing it. Young would not have gotten it.
Now the Phillies have played the infield in. Cosma, the 8-hole hitter.
Teams never squeeze anymore, seems like. And they are going to hit for Wainwright.
Yeah, Ty Wigginton's in the on-deck circle as Cosma fouls the first pitch back. It's 0-1.
So that tells you, it's not like you're going to deal with a pitcher staying in the game and they might squeeze. They'll probably swing away here then.
There's Wigginton, who played last year with the Phillies. There's a strike. It's 0-2.
They don't want to play the infield in the 7th inning at home. But the way they're scoring runs, they almost have to.
Cosma's grounded out twice, once to third, once to second. Mike Matheny, second-year manager of the Cardinals, toward right field. Mayberry gets behind it. Runner tags from third. Here comes Freese. Here comes the throw, and it's up the line. And the Cardinals retake the lead. So it's a 3-2 ball game. Now what do? You let Wainwright bat?
Well,
it does look that way. Yep.
Yeah,
that's what they're going to do.
He does everything right here. Throws up the line.
Ooh, did he leave early, Wills?
I don't know.
He may have left early.
I was watching the throw and where he was behind.
That was awfully close.
Pretty strong throw, but up the line and no chance to get him.
Well, no matter whether he left early or not, the pitch is taken low and in. It's 1-0. Take a look again. Nope, his foot is still on the bag.
He's fine.
His body was moving though. 1-1 the count to Wainwright.
It's a really good job of getting a run there by the Cardinals too. After the Phillies get back into the game, they get the double, get them over, get them in.
Wainwright 0 for 2. 1-2 the count. John Jay's sacrifice bunt moved the run over to third so he could score on that fly ball to right.
Yeah, that was the key to get him over to third.
Give Freese credit too for going hunting for that first pitch to drive into the gap in right center field.
Yeah, that's a Freese we used to see before when he hit the ball hard the other way. Said he hadn't been doing that this year.
3 strikeouts for Adam Wainwright. 8 strikeouts for Cole Hamels. The Cardinals retake the lead. Time to stretch here in Philadelphia. The Phils down 1.
That ball probably was foul, but what are you going to do? And a 2-run 6th inning for the Phillies there as they got some big hits in that inning. But then the Cardinals came back and manufactured a run in the 7th to take a 1-run lead. We go to the bottom of the 7th. The starters are still around.
Well, there's Mike Adams, who's in the bullpen. Maybe the Phillies can get a run or two here for Cole Hamels. And then the Phillies can go 8-9 with the lead. Hey, these lucky fans are tonight's Citizens 7. They will each receive a prize pack courtesy of Citizens Bank. Citizens Bank with the most 7-day branches in the Philadelphia area. To find a branch near you, visit citizensbank.com.
Hamels due to bat 4th in this inning. So they certainly hope they get to him and be able to hit for him.
John Mayberry struck out, and he's also popped out to first against Wainwright, who begins the inning with just 71 pitches.
Yeah, I think he had 51 to start last inning, so they made him work a little bit and scored some runs off him.
They do have their bullpen going right now. Their bullpen has not been great for St. Louis. Mayberry fouls it away over the first base dugout. The Lucky McDonald's Phillies home run jackpot contestant is Melinda Granieri of Milltown. Phillies hit a home run in tonight's ball game, and Melinda will win $100. Just trying to mix it up, Wheels.
Yeah, usually do that one a little earlier, right?
Curveball.
We haven't had to do it before the 4th when I've left. It's been scoreless, that's for sure.
7 games, 5 innings. First 5 innings, no runs. 1-2 the count to Mayberry. Saw Rosenthal throwing in the pen. Up the third base line. I think he's going to get a base hit out of that. David Freese won't even make a throw.
He gets a few of those. Smothers those things and gets a swinging bunt. Freese, of course, going to play way back with a guy like Mayberry out there. Once that dribbled into that area, it's a base hit. You see how far back he is. He's guarding the line. He's all the way back in here guarding the line. So he's got all this up in here that he still has to go to.
Well, now Revere is up. The Cardinals are expecting a bunt. Freese is up on the grass at third, with Mayberry at first. Ben Revere is an excellent bunter.
Well, they just manufactured a run. Now it's time for the Phillies to do it. And you want to bunt it towards Freese.
And he bunts it to the right side.
That was good too. You make Wainwright come in and get it. You want to just make sure it's dribbled into that area somewhere. Whether you make the first baseman come get it, third baseman come get it.
Oh, the sacrifice is successful. And now Eric Kratz. Kratz lined out his first time up, struck out his last time to the plate as Revere is congratulated. Hamels out of the on-deck circle. A dribble in a blast doesn't sound as good as a bloop in a blast. But the Phillies got the dribbling hit by Mayberry.
All right.
And now Kratz is up.
That was Bob Prince from the Pittsburgh Pirates. Way back in his Hall of Fame career. He used to
said that?
say a bloop and a blast.
Really?
Yep. Well, he used it a lot. I don't know if he originated it.
Let's give the man some credit.
He certainly used it a lot.
Off the glove of Molina. How about how that one popped up in the air? And Mayberry's over at third. A wild pitch. And now a fly ball could tie this ball game up.
And Molina's so good at blocking everything. Does he box this a little bit? Yeah, he puts it, he backhands it, hits the heel of the glove and bounces up, as opposed to shifting and letting it hit your body, which he's so good at. That's why it went up in the air, because it hit the heel. They're going to play it in. Kratz has to get a strike now. Try to get something up in the zone to drive, just like they just did.
Hamels on deck. Phillies even get one here. Cole might stay in. Depends on what Kratz does to get that one. The 1-1 pitch coming. Curveball pulled through the hole on the left side. A base hit. The Phillies have tied it up. Kratz is aboard. It's a 3-3 game.
Well, that's the same pitch that he just got fooled by so much, was that curveball, but this one was out over the plate and up a little bit more, and he did a really good job of staying back. You didn't have to hit it that hard because the infield's in. You have a lot more room to hit a ball through.
Well, now with a runner at first, Dominic Brown's going to pitch in.
There's that curveball. It was in a, Wainwright will tell you, I'll throw it there every time, but when you have the infield in the way that it is, look at how easy it is to get a ball through. He's out in front, but he's just able to hook it enough to get it through the hole, get the bunt down in the inning. Of course, the wild pitch, huge for the Phillies because that made them bring the infield in. Infield back, that's an out.
Mike Matheny comes out to talk to Wainwright. I think he's going to stay in the game, Wheels, even though it's the manager coming out to talk. Well, while they talk on the mound, it gives us a chance to do the Dodge Stuff the Fans trivia quiz answer. Wheels, who was the pitcher that gave up Stan Musial's 475th and final home run in '63?
So is there a tie-in that it's a Phillies pitcher?
Yes.
Well, I love the man so much, but I'm going to have to say a guy who threw a lot of home runs, Robbie.
Robin Roberts is a good guess.
Incorrect.
It is incorrect. You know this gentleman very well.
Who is it?
He was a coach for the Phillies. That's where the tie-in is. And he was an outstanding pitcher for the Brooklyn Dodgers.
Johnny Padres.
Johnny Padres is correct. No bell wheels, but it's always nice to bring up Pods' name.
Yeah, because you laugh when you think about it. He was so much fun to be around.
I was talking to Dave Gallagher today. Dave played, of course, for the Phillies and a number of teams. He lives in Mercer County, New Jersey. I see Dave often. He was talking about a conversation he had with Johnny Padres one year back in '95. As it's 1-0 to Dominic Brown with a runner at first. And Dominic hits it foul. It's 1-1. I was talking to Galley because back in 1995 against the Cincinnati Reds. I'm sure you remember this play. It was just because of Ben Revere's catch the other night against the Reds. Galley made this unbelievable grab on a ball off the bat of Reggie Sanders with Jeff Juden on the mound. And he said that the next night, Johnny Padres said to him, "You kept Jeff Juden in the big leagues because if you didn't catch that ball, it would have been a big inning and he would have went off to the minor leagues." But he said it in a gravelly voice.
Oh, yeah.
1-2 the count.
Oh, there's so many great Pod stories with that voice of his, of course. And he'd be getting on an umpire, and finally got a guy to turn around, take his meds. That's enough, Pods. Pods will goes, how'd he know it was me? Just look at him like, how'd he know it was you? Boy, he was a good pitching coach. Great changeup.
1-2 the count to Dominic Brown. And Dominic fouls it away. Remains 1-2.
Two of the greatest characters in the game were best friends, Don Zimmer and Johnny Padres. They were inseparable, those two. Here's another character.
Birthday's coming up this Sunday, the Bart birthday party.
Never changes. It's a gift.
It is a gift. Brown hits it out towards second. Pretty soft. We'll get one and not able to turn the double play. 4-6 on the put out at second base.
Well, that Matt Carpenter, we talked earlier, he's a third baseman playing second. He has had a lot of strangely hit balls at him tonight. Bullets, spinners like that one. He has really been tested. This one right here is a cue ball coming at him. A jammer. That thing's spinning like crazy. Does a good job there, and Cosmo almost turns a double play.
Well, now with Brown at first, here's Rollins. Rollins 1 for 3. He started the rally in the 6th that tied the game up the first time. They are awfully deep in the outfield from left to right.
Yeah, that's a go-ahead run at first base, so they're going to play that don't hit it over my head outfield defense here in the 7th inning. Look how deep they are. They'll give up something in front of them and make you beat them with 2 hits here.
Two and 0 the count.
Both teams scored good runs in this inning. Real good fundamental baseball runs. Phillies were helped by the wild pitch. But both teams got bunts down.
Line drive toward right field. Beltran started in, and he reaches up and makes the catch.
Well, they had him all the way back.
I thought that was going to sail over his head at the last moment. Jimmy Rollins hit it right on the nose. The side is retired. The Phillies have tied it again, and they nearly kept the inning alive. But Carlos Beltran, a Gold Glover during his career, was able to react. Now the Fanatic doing a little dugout dance in between innings. The Fanatic, of course, going to be celebrating his birthday on Sunday. A young lady wanted to get up on that dugout so bad, and she performed in front of a large crowd and was flawless.
Good job.
Mike Adams will take over here in the top of the 8th inning. All fans 14 and under. That young lady there that we just saw in the dugout will receive the Fanatic DVD. Time traveling Fanatic. Adams this year 7 games, no wins, no losses, a 1.5 ERA. 0-1 pitch. Swing and a miss. 0-2. Carpenter's 0 for 3. He's flied out twice. He's grounded out to second. Got him for the changeup. 9 strikeouts for Phillies pitching. Hamels had 8 strikeouts over 7 innings tonight. He allowed 3 runs on 5 hits.
Took 3 really good pitches. As Tom said, there's a changeup there, and you can see the bottom fall out of it. That guy, where'd that ball hit him that Ryan Howard?
It looked like it hit him
collarbone?
Right on the collarbone.
Yeah. And then he gets up next time and hits one to the wall in center. They say he's tough.
Beltran 1 for 3.
Here it is right here. Look at this bad hop, and he puts his body in front of it, sells out. That's a third baseman's move right there, and that's what he is. He wasn't about to be able to go pick that up and try and throw Ryan Howard out. That had to really hurt. Beltran 1 for 5 lifetime off Adams with 3 strikeouts.
Beltran taking a look into the crowd. That ball did graze off, I shouldn't say graze, it hit a gentleman right in the side of the head. They're looking at him right now. 2-1 the count to Beltran. I do believe he is okay.
Says he's fine.
Out toward left field. Galvis on the run, out toward the track, over his head and over the wall. That one carried right on out over the flower bed, and the Cardinals retake the lead 4-3. I didn't think that ball was going to carry out. He is now the all-time leader, active leader by himself. David Wright slides over to the side.
Fastball was supposed to be away. It looked like a sinker. Got a little bit of the plate, too much of the plate. Beltran, he could still hurt you.
Second home run of the year for Beltran. Second hit tonight. So 4-3 Cardinals. Phil's out to come from behind again in the bottom of the 8th inning. Holiday grounds it back towards shortstop. Phillies in their half of the 8th have Galvis, Utley, and Howard due up. against a Cardinals bullpen that has been, well, let's just say a little erratic.
They do have two left-handers, Zepsinski.
Yep.
But they're warming a right-hander up.
I think it's still Rosenthal. I think that's who was up before. It is Rosenthal.
Hard throwing right-hander. 95 to 100, that's all.
Alan Craig takes a little low, 1-0.
Said he's been throwing the ball down the middle. Played a little bit too much this year and getting hurt. It's interesting there to use a right-hander with two lefties available.
Tell you the Major League scoreboard. Braves and the Pirates are tied at 4. That game is at the top of the 6th inning. Russell Martin 2 for 2 with a home run. B.J. Upton is homered for the Braves in that ball game. Pirates will be here on Monday to start a 4-game series against the Phillies. And now it's 3-0.
Careful with this guy. He has tremendous power, and they may give him 3-0 green light.
Nope, he takes. It's 3-1.
A little cutter.
Three and 2 the count. Alan Craig. Inside ball 4.
Time for a Hyundai defensive plays of the game. Couple good ones here by the Cardinals. This looks like it could be a hit that would score a run, but Adam Wainwright, 6'7", uses all of it. Now, we just talked about they had their outfield back into a don't hit it over my head defense. Well, Carlos Beltran got frozen a little bit on that, but he was plenty deep, so he's able to go back and get it. That defense worked out perfectly for them.
Brought to you by our local Hyundai dealers. Now Yadier Molina with 2 outs. Molina's 2 for 3, has 2 RBIs. He had that ball down the right field line back in the 4th inning that was ruled a double. Turned out to be a 2-run double. Looking at the replay, it was foul. But Alan Porter called it fair. That gave the Cardinals the early lead. Phillies tied it in the 6th. Cardinals retook the lead in the 7th. Phillies tied it in their half of the 7th. Now the Cardinals have taken the lead again here in the 8th. It's 4-3. 1 ball, no strikes to count. Ground ball toward the hole. That's another base hit for Molina. He now is 3 for 4. Well, the 8th inning, which was so much a problem last year, hasn't been as big a problem this season, but there have been a couple games where the Phillies have given up extra runs, or in this case, a run to break a 3-3 tie. Carlos Beltran's home run broke the 3-3 tie in this inning. And now David Freese, who doubled and scored his last time, will come to the plate. Another strike, 0-2. First pitch inside, next pitch outside at the knees. 0-2 the count to Freeze. Runners lead off. Tomorrow the Phillies will have Doc on the mound, and he'll be opposed by Jaime Garcia. Garcia's off to a good start. 1-0 with a 1.86 ERA. Doc coming off a good start his last outing. Phillies trying to end this 3-game losing streak. How about that? I don't know if he's more interested in Wheels, the hot dog, the pretzel, or the baseball. It looks like the baseball. I'll tell you, that ball could be coming back on the field.
Yeah. That's about the age where they fire them back.
Outside, 2-2. All right. It's a cool night. Here we go. Dad makes the nice scratch, says thank you. Little guy's like, pretzel, pretzel. Oh, ball. Yeah, look at that.
He didn't throw it.
Swing and a miss. He got it with an 89-mile-an-hour fastball. Side is retired. The Cardinals do retake the lead. Carlos Beltran is the active leader in home runs against the Phillies, and he just added to that total. However, the Phillies will have Galvis, Chase Utley, and Ryan Howard due up when we come back for the bottom of the 8th inning. Rosenthal takes over for Wainwright. Wainwright is the pitcher of record on the winning side. Rosenthal 11 strikeouts, but 11 hits in 9 innings so far. And Galvis takes way inside. It's 1-0.
He was up and down 3 times last year for them. Phillies never saw him. This is his first appearance against the Phillies. Saw him a lot on television, and he has a really good arm.
Inside corner for a strike. Rosenthal is out of the state of Missouri. He's from Lee's Summit. And Galvis fouls it back. 1-2 the count. Oh, he's trying to get the tying run aboard.
Freddie Galvis trying to get started quick on this guy, because that's what you have to do.
Phillies didn't see Rosenthal last year. However, he did pitch. He threw in 4 games in the league championship series. Had 9 strikeouts in 5 1/3.
You saw him a lot on television.
Outside 3-2. Outside and high.
That 4th pitch he just threw was 100. That one was 99.
He just looked at the board to see where it was.
Yeah, well, he's opening up a little bit, and hopefully he'll open up one more time and throw another one wide. Talk about challenge. Just one fastball after another. Here's his delivery. He's one of those guys that really pushes off on that back foot, the high leg kick, and look at him drive towards home plate. Well, that's pretty motion. Power motion.
Galvis lifts it down the left field line. Holiday over and out of room.
That's a good delivery, not to hurt your arm. Really good follow through.
Sound mechanics.
Very sound. When you push off like that and follow through like that, no recoil.
Derek Lilliquist is the pitching coach. Took over for Dave Duncan. Derek Lilliquist was not the kind of guy that pushed off like that and threw a 100.
No.
Galvis lines one toward left field. Holiday is there. And he makes the catch for the first out. Tonight on Sports Night, get a complete analysis of Cole Hamels' outing and highlights from this ball game. Plus, the highlights of the Flyers matchup. They're down 1-0 as the third period is underway against the Devils. Get all the news Philly fans need to know on Chevy Malibu Sports Night tonight at 10:30 over on Comcast Sportsnet. Also, they'll talk about the Eagles' schedule being released. That matchup in Philadelphia on Thursday night against Andy Reid's Kansas City Chiefs. Utley has 2 hits tonight. He has an RBI. He's 2 for 3.
And that outfield, again, that was why that play was so easy there for Matt Holliday, because he was so deep. Not that he wouldn't have caught it normally, but if he's cheating in a little bit more on the offside, that's a tougher play than it was.
I think that was a changeup at 90 miles an hour.
Yeah, 89, 90. There you see how deep they are, and that's really worked on the last 2 hitters, on Jimmy Rollins to end the 8th, or end the 7th, and Freddie to lead off the 8th.
Lee off the end of the bat out towards second. Not hit that hard. Carpenter throws him out by a step. 2 outs here in the 8th. There's Papelbon in the bullpen. Looks like Papelbon's going to pitch the 9th inning for the Phils. Ryan Howard is 2 for 3.
Carpenter in on the edge of the grass. He was way back, and I think he's happy to be way back. They're bringing him in. They figure exactly why they want to do that with 2 outs and nobody on base.
Now they're going to back him up.
Yeah, that certainly would make a lot more sense.
Jose Oquendo was able to get his attention.
And after the way he's been peppered out there tonight, he's fine about moving back a little more.
There's Jose Oquendo, longtime third base coach for the Cardinals.
You know, they're figuring Howard's really having trouble getting around on this guy, so they're going to put a player on the other side of second base, shortstop side.
1-2 the count.
They could see he's late, so they decide, all right, well, the odds are he may not pull this guy with these fastballs. He's more likely to squirt one through the other way.
It's kind of interesting, too, because Oquendo's nowhere near Matheny. That's all up to him.
Yeah.
He hasn't asked anybody for help on that. It's his decision.
Well, and just like Matheny would help out with the catching, you use a guy like Jose Oquendo, who was a heck of an infielder himself. He was a really good shortstop when he was young.
He's saying, knock the ball down. Do whatever he can, knock the ball down. He's signaling, know who the runner is, because Ryan's not running well. Off the end of the bat, out toward right center. That'll drop for a base hit. Broke his bat. 3rd hit of the night.
Now they have to make a decision whether they're going to run for him.
Well, we've seen it once before in a tie ball game. It was last weekend in Miami.
Right off the end of the bat. Good job by him to protect the plate. Broke the bat. Found a spot. Base runner.
Mick Billmeyer, Charlie Emanuel, they talked for a moment. I think Mick's looking for.
Well, I think they're getting somebody ready if he gets into scoring position.
Right. But they were looking for whoever that was.
Right.
Here's Michael Young with a runner at first. And Young lines one toward left center field. That's going to drop for a base hit. Jay playing deep, cuts it off. Howard at second. And now runners on first and second with 2 outs. And now you may see the Phillies pinch run for Ryan Howard.
Yep, they'll do it now.
It's going to be Carrera, I would think.
Right.
Because then they have Mayberry play first.
He would be the logical guy to go out there.
There he is.
And Matheny's going to make a double switch.
All right, so Mike Matheny comes out to talk to the home plate umpire, Mike Esterbrook. They're going to bring in another right-hander. Ryan Howard is lifted from second base. Ryan says sometimes the Achilles feels good. Sometimes it's a little tight. Certainly is doing everything he can when he's on the base paths. He's got 3 hits tonight. But he's been lifted for a pinch runner. So we've got a pitching change and a position change. Daniel Descalso is going to come in for the Cardinals to play, I think, second base. We'll let you know who the new pitcher is in just a moment. This is an AT&T call to the bullpen. The Phillies cap. She was dancing on the dugout with the Fanatics, so she's used to the spotlight. And she's brought a friend along. New pitcher for the Cardinals is Edward Mojica. The new second baseman is Daniel Descalso. He'll bat 9th. Carpenter moves from second over to third. And Mojica will bat in David Freese's spot, so that's the double switch. Mojica, no wins, no losses, a 1.80 ERA. Lance Nix is going to pinch hit for the Phillies. With 2 outs here at the bottom of the 8th.
Mojica has a pretty good fastball, but his out pitch is a split. We saw him a lot when he pitched with San Diego, Miami. They were Florida Marlins then.
A couple years ago, he was a good pickup for the Cardinals when they got him for the Marlins. And Nix grounds one foul. Trying to tie this game up, maybe with a big swing. Give the Phils the lead. The Phillies pinch hitters have been among the best in the National League this year.
Yeah. Now they play the outfield. It's totally different than it was before. They're going to come in a little bit with a potential tying run at second.
And that is Ezekiel Carrera who's leading off second. Now it's 0-2.
This guy, I'd be surprised if he throws a fastball to Lance Nix, because his best pitch really is a split.
Phillies pinch hitters 3rd in the league in average. There's Carrera taking his lead off second. Young's at first. Swing and a miss.
Another one.
Got him with 3 straight splits. Phillies threaten with 2 outs but do not score. So Mike Matheny pulled the trigger, made the move to bring in Mojica through 3 straight splitters to get Lance Nix. To the top of the 9th inning, Jonathan Papelbon will pitch for the Phillies. Lance Nix stays in the game. He'll play first base. And Ezekiel Carrera remains in the ballgame after pinch running for Ryan Howard to play right field. There's Papelbon. 5 games so far for Papelbon. 3.60 earned run average.
You wonder why Mike Matheny would make that switch that he just made with a relief pitcher coming in and worried about him hitting in that 9-hole. Well, the reason is they'd have Mata's gone right now. They'll probably close with Mojica, so they wanted to put a position player in the 9-hole, get away from his spot, which was going to come up, and that way they leave him in the game to pitch the bottom of the 9th inning.
Oh, and for Papelbon trying to keep this in a 1-run game. It'll be John Jay, Cosma, and then Descalso. Jay struck out twice, had a sacrifice bunt in the 7th.
Hold it to 1 run at home. Big difference.
On the inside corner, it's 0-2. 94 on that fastball from Papelbon. Around the National League, the Braves and the Pirates are still tied at 4. That game's in the bottom of the 7th in Pittsburgh. The Nationals are off tonight. Yeah, there's a limited schedule in the American League. Heck of a game today between the Mariners and the Tigers. Justin Verlander was pitching for Detroit, and the Mariners won that game 2-0. Yesterday they went extra innings. And I'm going to talk about strikeouts in that game between the Mariners and the Tigers. That was a 2-1 game yesterday. 1-2 pitch coming. Line drive toward right field. Carrera is out there. And a hard hit ball, one away. And Cosma is up for the Cardinals. Cosma's 0 for 2. His sac fly came back in the 7th inning. Cole Hamels started the ball game for the Phillies. Had a good fastball tonight.
He pitched really well here tonight. You figure his first 2 runs shouldn't even been on the board probably. John Mayberry fell down out there trying to catch that fly ball, and then the ball that was down the line was foul. It was ruled fair. The one run he probably is kicking himself for is the go-ahead run where Craig hit the leadoff double. To their credit, then they got him over, got him in. But he had good stuff tonight. Right out of the chute, ball was really coming out of his hand nice.
0-2 the count. Foul ball.
Do a lot of fastballs, cutters, very few curveballs. Benny, he probably mixed some in there somewhere, but he's really put that curveball back as his 4th pitch and way back.
Popped him up. Lance Nix over at first base. He has room. And there are 2 outs. With foul territory. Nix playing first base with Ryan Howard being pinch run for in the bottom of the 8th inning. And here comes Descalso. You mentioned part of the double switch has Descalso batting 9th and playing second base, and Mujica, who got the last out of the 8th inning. And he'll be back out on the mound in the 9th inning against the Phillies. A split outside, 1-0. Shallow left field over toward the line. Rollins and Galvis, and it's Galvis who puts it away. A 1-2-3 9th inning. Good job by Jonathan Papelbon. So he keeps it a 1-run deficit. Last chance for the Phillies when we come back in the bottom of the 9th. Cardinals up top 4-3. Bottom of the 9th inning. The Phillies will try to get a run against Edward Mujica. He got the last out in the 8th, and now he's here to pitch the 9th inning. We mentioned the Cardinals have had trouble trying to figure out who the closer is going to be this season because Jason Mott injured himself on the 21st of March. Mott came down with what was revealed was a low-grade tear to his UCL, which is the ligament that leads to Tommy John surgery. The recommendation for Mott was that he sit for 3 weeks and rest, and then they'll recheck him. But there's a pretty good chance he's going to need Tommy John surgery. Ben Revere leads it off and takes outside. It's 1-0. Revere needs to get on base.
Yeah, the pinch hitter in the 9-hole will be Kevin Franson for the Phillies.
And Revere lines one to center field, a base hit.
Well, this guy just keeps throwing split finger fastballs. It looked like he threw one there and he got it up a little bit.
Well, for Ben Revere, came into the ball game 0 for his last 14. 0 for 2 tonight, so he was 0 for 16 before that hit. That had to feel pretty good.
Yeah, and contributed 2 at-bats in a row now. 2 plate appearances with that sack last time.
Absolutely.
Now, you bunt Kratz here.
Well, he took a long look down at Ryan Sandberg.
I think you worry about a double play with a guy throwing splits. But you wonder, can he get a bunt down? Or maybe he could drive one somewhere and do some damage. Deep in the outfield.
Kratz did have an RBI his last time up. Now Revere, whether he's going to get a big lead or not, don't forget Yadier Molina has 43 pickoffs. Forget about throwing guys out. He's 2 for 5 throwing guys out this year, but 43 pickoffs.
Yeah, it's hard to run. Now if you can guess right and get a splitter in the dirt down, that's a good move. Even Molina has trouble throwing you out on that pitch. Well, that's twofold what they're doing. They want to see if Kratz shows any sign of moving his hands up on the bat for a bunt, and he has not.
Molina looking at Mike Matheny for the signs. What do they want to do with Revere at first? And Kratz not squaring, takes a strike. It's 0-1. It's a tough pitch on the inner half of the plate.
Yeah, another splitter. And that's what you figure he would throw right here because he's trying to get a ground ball. Now they'll back Carpenter up at third. Way back. Well, not way back, but behind the bag. Still pretty good fastball here. He's cheating a little bit for that split. And he got a fastball. And he throws hard, too. Well, he just got a good fastball. He'll throw in the low 90s.
That was over the outside part of the plate. It's 1-2.
That's tough when you get that over like that. Because the pitch, a hitter's thinking, I don't want to swing at it. It's going to be a ball most of the time.
Tying run is at first base. Nobody out here in the 9th inning. And a spinner out toward right center. Drops for a hit. Revere around second, heading to third. The throw by Beltran offline. First and third with nobody out as Kratz puts the tying run 90 feet away.
Well, that's great base running by Ben Revere. He read that. He could not catch that. He has that play right in front of him, and he had the depth perception on it, and he saw it was not going to be caught.
Well, now Franson will be the batter. Watch this by Garrett Kratz.
Yeah, as you call it a spinner, it was a splitter coming up, and he could read that easily that it was going to get over his head. And he knew how deep the outfielders were. Now Mojica does not back up third base here. Here comes Ben Revere. He is not backing up third. And watch where Beltran's throw goes. Mojica's not even in your picture. And that's a heck of a play by Carpenter there. If that gets by him, you got a runner in and another guy at third base.
All right, he didn't field in. Now nobody out. Tying run over at third. Now timeout called. They have Kratz over at first base. You do have Quintero available. Maybe you could pinch run a pitcher for Kratz, but Charlie's going to leave him in. Franson at the plate. And a pitch. And Franson hits it towards shortstop. Revere waited for a moment. It was bobbled by the shortstop Cosma, and he throws out Franson. And that puts the winning run up at second with 1 out. And Rollins is coming up. Revere started, then stops.
You see him in the box right there. And sometimes you'll start the guy and make him go and get in a rundown so you stay out of a double play. In that case, they decided to keep him there. Well, the team, they're going to come out and talk about what they want to do with their infield.
Well, they do have a left-hander starting to warm up too in the bullpen for the Cardinals. So they're going to talk about the infield. They're going to give their left-hander some time. Randy Choate, the veteran, is in the bullpen.
Now they're going to talk to Kratz over at third base as he heads back to second. Now, this is the time if you were going to pinch run for him, you do it because he is the go-ahead run at second base.
But again, it would have to be a pitcher that would pinch run for him.
Right.
Wouldn't be Quintero, who's the only bench player you have left.
And you're down to your bullpen pitchers out there, and you have one less starter to run with Lannon gone.
Yeah. So the infield is in, runners on second and third. Rollins the batter, the pitch. Inside, 1-0.
The outfielders have to come in a little bit now. It's not the winning run at third base, but the winning run's at second. So they cannot play that deep defense they've been playing.
All right, now arm-wise in the outfield. Below average in left, average in center, above average in right, and that's Beltran. The 1-0 pitch. Threw him a split, 1-1 the count. Rollins, you saw, has good numbers against Mujica and a very limited amount of ABs. There's Cliff Lee. He's got his helmet in his hand. Spikes are on.
He would be the guy. He's ready. Oh.
2-1. He's ready. When do you do it?
If you get Kratz at third and Revere in, I guess. Because if he's not in now, I don't know when else.
Get himself stretched out a little bit.
Yeah.
Rollins fouls it, and it's 2-2.
Trying to lift here, of course, and this guy's doing everything he can to keep it down so you can't lift.
Yeah, fly ball should bring Revere home from third. Rollins has doubled tonight and he's scored a run. Swing and a miss. 2 outs. And it's going to be left up to Freddie Galvis. And now Cliff Lee is going to pinch run for Kratz.
Splitter. There's nothing else he's going to throw here. Just that's his pitch. It's one after another. And he chased it.
So Cliff Lee is the go-ahead run, but there are 2 outs now. Kratz moved Revere over to third on a single, then went to second on a ground out by Franzen. And now Freddie Galvis, so cool under pressure. He's 2 for 4. Yadier Molina just reminded Alan Craig to look out for the bunt. And Galvis takes a strike. It's 0-1.
What a feeling if you're the Cardinals to have this kind of catcher behind home plate who'll keep calling one split after another, not afraid to bounce one, feeling that he will block it. So they'll keep throwing it down there. Now, he's not throwing them in the dirt, but he may. That's why you have to get a good walk-in lead at third.
Galvis takes low and in. 1-1. Awfully close pitch. There's Revere at third. Lee at second. Fighting to stay back just a little bit on that splitter.
Well, if they don't get any fastballs. He's just going to keep calling that thing. Now, that was a little bit of a hanger, and he got out front. That was the best one they've had to hit.
Fans are chanting, Freddie, Freddie. And the 1-2. Ground ball right side. This should do it. Descalso is there, and the Phillies leave 2 in scoring position here in the bottom of the 9th inning, and they lose game 1 of the Cardinals by a final of 4-3. Well, they had 2 on with nobody out, and they had the tying run over at third, but they were unable to get that run across the plate. Yadier Molina 3 for 4, a double, 2 RBIs. His double down the right field line gave the Cardinals the early lead. Phillies tied it a couple different times, but St. Louis was able to break the tie on 2 different occasions and walk away with the victory. Well, the game-winning hit for the St. Louis Cardinals is our W.B. Mason delivery of the game.
Carlos Beltran more home runs in this ballpark than any visiting player. Mike Adams, that pitch, it got too much of the plate. It looked like it was going to hit the wall and be a double, and it gets over the wall, over the fence, and that turns out to be the game-winning hit and our W.B. Mason delivery of the game.
Phillies so many times over the last couple of years have come through in the bottom of the 9th inning. They were unable to do it here tonight. They lose it 4-3.